I bring to you choices as recently heard on a Jewish mother's answering machine. Hello? If you're coming for Shabbos dinner, press 1. If you'd like chicken with your dinner, press 2. If you would like brisket for your dinner, press 3. If you would like soup with your dinner, press 4. If you would like matzo balls with your soup, press 5. If you are calling just to see how I'm doing, I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. Since when does anyone call to see how I'm doing? In this modern age of ours, even guilt, the last great hope of Jewish survival, has evolved to include a choice. Choices abound everywhere we turn in every aspect of our lives. Even the most inane of tasks involves making a choice. I went to the grocery store just the other day to run an errand. It was the middle of the day, I was hungry, and so I thought I'd pick up a snack. I went to the granola bar aisle, and I must have stood there in that aisle for a whole 10 minutes, considering the myriad possibilities. There were high-fat, low-fat, no-fat granola bars, crunchy bars and chewy bars, bars with chocolate chips, straight bars and twisted bars, and even bars in bite-sized bits. From granola bars to cell phones, from ringtones to the next American Idol. Life is not the way it used to be. There was a time, in my memory anyway, when Levi's came in only 2 varieties, button down and fly. There was a time when the only phone was a rotary phone, basic color, black. There was a time when the words free-range, carbohydrate, and polyunsaturated fat were not part of the common vocabulary. There are those who say that the plethora of choices we now enjoy has enriched the quality of our modern lives. There are those who argue they have only added to the challenge of remaining sane and exercised anyone who has ever called a customer service line and attested. And there are those who, pointing elsewhere, say the choices that flood our lives have only served to further individuate us, separating us from the whole of community rather than unifying us for a common good. Whichever way we side in the argument, in Jewish tradition there have always been choices. Choices intended to both enrich us as well as to challenge us, both to ennoble us as well as to test us. And as an aside, choices meant to unite us as instruments for communal purpose, rather than agents of personal gain. In the morning, we will read about the most elevated and noble choice of all. I set before you life and blessing, death and curse. Choose life, we are urged, that you and your descendants may live. Actually, it doesn't seem like much of a choice, really. Life, death, blessing, curse. I imagine that most of us would choose life over death, blessing instead of curse, without even a second thought. Sort of like asking a child whether he preferred double-chunk cookies over Brussels sprouts. Or asking a rabbi, for that matter. But the Torah is trying to make a point. Long before the silver screen and the advent of horror films, Torah conceived the notion of the living dead. Hordes of individuals who, albeit without the gore and the decaying flesh, nevertheless were living lives that were buried by the past, stymied by the future, and oblivious to the moment. Torah is pleading with us, who spend our days by going through the motions, who mindlessly engage in argument, who acknowledge our loved ones in only the most perfunctory of ways, to step back into the light. There are zombies among you, the Torah claims. You who cannot see the miraculous for its simplicity, you who no longer rise to try something new, you who no longer believe in yourself or in your innate ability to effect something good, you who no longer believe you deserve something good. It is time to choose life and return to the world of the living. I know that to most, I seem a laid-back kind of guy. Never raise my voice, look to the positive, work for the best. Truth of the matter is, there was a time long ago when I was a pretty surly kind of guy. Impatient with my kids, argumentative with my wife, distracted by the pressures of work and family finance. I was certainly alive. My skin wasn't gray and falling off in patches, but I had ceased to live. Mistaking anger for passion, discipline for affection, holding grudges for hurts I refused to believe were meaningless, praying for tomorrow at the expense of today. A typical day saw me dreading the sunrise, knowing that to wake from bed meant facing a work environment that brought little joy. Angry at that prospect, I did the logical thing. I yelled at the kids. Get moving, get dressed, you'll be late, I'll be late. I drive them to school, angry the whole way, feeling guilty for yelling the second they had gotten out of the car, though never in enough time to stop before they opened the door to leave. I managed through the day pleasantly conversing and interacting with those around me, only to lose my ability to communicate upon entering the house at the end of the day. "Hi, Daddy," evoked a grunt. "What happened today?" evoked monosyllabic responses. And when my vocabulary finally began to return, the first things I uttered weren't questions like, "How was your day?" or "How are you feeling?" Rather it was, "Did you get to the bank? Did you call the electrician? Did you clean your room?" "Why is it," Adrian would ask, "that you have time for everyone else? You're sweet to everyone you meet, and when you're home, it's like you can't stand a single moment more of it." And she was right, of course. I had all of these emotions inside of me: anger, disappointment, longing, pain, frustration. And the ones who got the brunt of it were not the people or the situations that flamed my negativity, but the people who tried their hardest to make my life better and simply wanted to love and be loved. I wasn't living. I was alive, yes, but I was definitely not living. It took quite a while to finally figure it out. I had a choice to make. Life was slipping away fast. I had blessings at my fingertips, yet I was trading them for a life that seemed to be cursed. I was missing out on the beauty and the wonderment that were my children's only childhood years. I was denying us the grace of fun times, loving care, innocent smiles. I was participating in pushing a wedge between my most beloved wife and myself. Yes, the Torah knows what it is doing when it warns us. Before you is life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life that you may